Welcome to Alignment First, where we're on a mission to bring leaders back to their peace, presence, and power. And I'm jamming today with my Marine brother, Aaron Williamson, founder of Mission Ready, trainer of the stars is what he's most known for. And I am honored, brother. We got connected by a mutual Marine friend of ours, and we have, since knowing each other, realized that we've operated in each other's orbit for a couple of years now. So it's great to have you officially in the circle and be moving with you, dude.
Yeah, very cool. It's like we were talking about at lunch, man. It's just always good to be back around Marines. There's something about it that you can't even put into words.
Nobody understands except us, man.
Yeah, if we never met, and I felt like I already knew you.
100%. And what's interesting, because I would consider us to be different generations of Marines, even though we both served global war on terror, your experience was very Iraq focused in terms of where everything was at while you served. And I was in Afghanistan. But what we have in common in terms of boots on the ground touching the same dirt is the body bearers. And I don't think people understand, first of all, their mission. I think people know what they do from pictures and videos and stuff like that, but I don't think there's a connection to their mission specifically. So I would love, since you've carried those fallen Marines to their final resting place, tell us about what the mission is of the Marine Corps body bearers and the function they provide.
Yeah, it's a duty that I didn't even know about when I was in the Marine Corps, and then when I found out about it, I was very intrigued by it because it's such a unique duty, and it's such a small number of Marines who actually serve in that capacity. But essentially, there's a for the Marines who get buried at Arlington National Cemetery, there's a primary section in the Marine Corps who covers those burials, and that is the Marine Corps body bearers out of Washington, D.C. So in addition to that, you also serve the congressional details, the presidential details, and then occasionally there might be some overseas joint service details that you might do as well. Like 2001, we did a funeral or a repatriation for a New Zealand Special Forces guy who was actually killed in a training accident in America. So we flew him back to New Zealand and went. It was a pretty massive ceremony they had for him. So we landed on the tarmac and handed him over to the New Zealand Special Guard or whatever they're called over there. And I mean, it was a huge event. So it's I always call it my most humble duty. It's when we're doing a funeral, we're trying to do it with as much precision and perfection as humanly possible, because the way I look at it is that image is the last thing that family is going to have in their memory from their loved one. And we always try and give it that final raise as a final salute. But man, it's every funeral requires as much perfection as humanly possible, no matter what rank, no matter what age, and no matter who it is.
Yeah. Dude, honored to know you. And thank you for that humble service. When I went and I was tasked with redesigning some of their physical fitness integration, because by the book, every body bearer is out of regs.
You got waivers for everything.
But it's required of the job. And what's funny about that, I'll never forget when we were at the basic school getting ready for our first field exercise and we got to weapons draw. Everybody gets issued an M4, but not everybody gets to carry the saw. And I'll never forget sitting in that auditorium and the company commander says, "Everybody over 200 pounds, stand up." And we do. Like, great. all of you get saws, the squad assault weapon. And everybody wants to shoot that damn thing, but nobody wants to carry it. And I'm curious as it pertains to the body bearers. Is that kind of how the selection process works, or is there like a qualification to become a body bearer?
So with the body bearers, go ahead.
For context,
yeah,
you can't tell because he's on through the screen. My man is 6'3", 200 and some odd pounds. So he's not a small human being.
I'm close to 240 right now. My biggest weight was when I was actually a body bearer, about 270. I mean, when we did the recruiting for potential body bearers back in the day when I was there, we would go. It would be me and the company first sergeant. We would go to the different recruit depots and and looking for the right individual, because obviously you need to be strong enough to do the job. But there's also a checklist of, are you responsible? Are you morally sound? Can you handle the responsibility? And so it's like a checklist of looking for the most perfect Marine, essentially, is what it comes down to. And, obviously over the course of time since I've left, the things have changed a lot, and that's not exactly the same checklist anymore. But you got to figure we're trying to look for uniformity, right? Because if you have someone who's 6'3" or 6'4", and then you got someone who's 5'9", you get on a casket, it doesn't work. You get out of step, the casket's shaking, it doesn't look professional, it throws everything off. You're looking for people who are not, somewhat injury free. Although carrying caskets for years, you're gonna beat the hell out of your body. But that was our process back in the day. I don't really even know what it is anymore. I just know that it's not what it was. And I see these guys now where the ceremonial drill school is taking 4, 5, 6 months. And I'm like, what? Like, how does it take that long? Like, what are you guys doing so different? And so I don't know what's involved now. I would hope that it's more stringent to really keep the traditions alive, because it is a really unique and special section within the Marine Corps. Yeah. And I pray that it stays that way.
Were you recruited out of boot camp for that detail?
No, I came out of the fleet, and they did not like it. I mean, I showed up there out of the fleet, even though I was still a Lance Corporal. They did not like me being there. And, I was much smaller at the time. I think I got there about 190 pounds, which the average weight of a body bearer was around 240 when I got there. So, it was just, it was a little bit nerve wracking for me, but I was excited about the opportunity to do it. And to come in at that level and to end up becoming the section leader. And some of my closest friends right now are the body bearers. Like we just had this tight knit brotherhood that, to this day, it's like if I called them up and they needed me and vice versa, we would be there for each other in any way.
I feel like it's very much a fraternity adjacent to being a special operations Marine, in that there's only a select few that have ever done it and can say that they have and have executed it successfully, all of those things. And it almost, correct me if I'm wrong, when, you and I as Marines felt like we knew each other, but if you ever come across another body bearer, it's even that much more obvious.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Cause you got the uniqueness of the duty. And then you have things to talk about that no one else would understand.
Yeah.
So you're right in that aspect.
For everybody thinks or assumes that we as Marines are squared away and show up tight with our shit together. But when I got to 8th and I got to experience the detail that is the body bearers, it's that on a whole nother level. You have multiple sets of dress blues and cut to perfection.
Yeah.
You know, we were joking at lunch, you know, when I got fitted for my stuff, they were like, dude, you got to stop squatting.
Yeah.
Your pockets, you're not gonna be able to fix that bulge in your pockets because your legs are too damn big for the uniform. The body bearers don't have those issues. Like, everything is just it was impressive, the level of detail that goes into doing the job, but more importantly, how everybody was locked into the standard, and it will not be tolerated if it's deviated from.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the same. I'm really curious if the same guy does the tailoring, but literally right across the street, there's a little tailor shop run by a guy named Mr. Yee, and I mean, the fact that I remember that says a lot. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
we were always over there getting alterations, because as you grow, like for me, I had a lot of alterations.
You put on 50 pounds, Doug.
Yeah. So I mean, like we get elastic put in the dress blues because I've seen firsthand on funerals what happens to the dress blues when they're not fitted properly. I mean, the whole back just completely splits down the middle. It's not a good look on a funeral.
No, definitely not. Holy shit, that's crazy.
But one thing also too,
yeah,
the reason why, you know, it's funny to talk about, but literally the reason why is you have to be prepared for any casket that comes your way, not knowing how heavy it's going to be. In addition to that, not knowing how far you're going to have to carry it. So there's a strength and endurance piece to this that is extremely important, right? So what I mean by that is we've had, like, there was one specific funeral that stands out it was just a regular standard funeral. And I don't mean that in a downgraded way.
I got you. Yeah.
We have standard funerals, full honors funerals, dependent funerals. So they're all different. This funeral, a standard funeral, normally once a Marine's in drill school becoming a body bearer, once there's a level of growth in his ability to do funerals, we'll bring that person out on a real funeral to do, and he'll be the junior man. And we just happen to have this one standard funeral, and we're standing at parade rest, and eyes locked forward, but then you just see the hearse coming by dragging, and we're like, what? In my mind, it's like, this is not good, because normally, like, you don't often see a hearse with the back of it dragging, right?
Right.
So this just happened to be a time where the actual casket itself took two people to get it out, even though it was on rollers. Normally the funeral rep just pulls it out. So this casket was reinforced with marble. Not only that, but we had to march, I want to say, about 50 yards with it.
Oh my gosh.
So there's a piece of this whole thing about being big that's really important, but also not being big, but also having the endurance, which is probably why I'm sure when you got involved doing what you did helped with that conditioning piece more, because at the end of the day, it's like, the section's a bunch of meatheads, just guys who really love lifting weights. Right. And it's where I fell in love with it even more. But you just never know what you're going to get. And then when you go into the lower parking garage, we got like, when you walk down there and you look, people are like, they don't even want to go down that way because you just see caskets everywhere. You know what I mean? It's a really weird feeling. The dim lights, you hear the water dripping. But you're prepared to carry the heaviest of the heaviest, and for as long as you can possibly carry it. That way, when you get whatever scenario thrown at you, you're prepared for it.
Right. Yeah, it is something that just flies under the radar that I don't think very many people are conscious of. It's not just being strong, but to your point, you got to be prepared if that's what you're called to do, to move that thing and cover some ground with it. Yeah. It was really interesting. Because when you say the C word in that room, like I felt all those Marines, the walls went up, like conditioning. That's not what we're here for.
Yeah, but it's something I wish we probably would have or should have focused on more. Because like I
Yeah.
say, when you're carrying a when you're carrying heavy weight,
Yeah.
it's not too bad for short distances.
Mhm.
When you get to that long distance,
Yeah.
for instance, there's been times where we've done full honors funerals with the commandant of the Marine Corps there standing behind the casket, and literally you take the casket out of the hearse, you're walking for you don't know how long, and then you got to stop right in the entrance of the cathedral, and then literally you're just marking time, waiting for everyone to sit down, and then you're looking at the long route that you had. Like there's a lot to it, man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What's showing up for me is sitting there teaching these guys about the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s of nutrition and eating right and all that kind of good stuff. And I'm not a small person, and I felt tiny in that room. And I'm curious from your perspective, and I've done one funeral detail. I've taken that flag and I've handed it to a widow of a fallen Marine. And it was heavy emotionally.
Yeah.
Keeping it together and staying keeping our bearing, as we say. Is that something that you get numb to? Is it something that you're always conscious of in a funeral detail? I didn't expect to spend the first 15 minutes of this conversation here, but like this is I feel like this is really important for people.
Yeah, and for me, it's really cool to talk about because I've been talking about my whole journey forever and ever and ever. Like for years now, I've been talking about all this stuff, and most people tend to focus on the Hollywood piece, and then maybe they touch on the body bearer piece a little bit. Most people want to know about Iraq and stuff, but I like to actually talk about the body bearer piece more because it's something that's not very familiar to people, and it's a really important aspect of what we do in the Marine Corps to honor the fallen. Yeah. So I don't know, man. It's you don't get numb to it. One of the things that we would do often is, and this might sound morbid in a weird way, but we would go to, like, our former casualty rep became a funeral director, and we would sometimes go to the actual funeral home and actually take a tour. And so it was like you're seeing the process of what's happening to a human body after they pass, and it's to instill into the new guys' mind of the fact that this is a human being. Like, you can get numb to it, you can get complacent to it when you're doing 4 or 5 funerals a day, which is the way it is during the summer. The summers are usually really busy, and getting numb and complacent was something that I always wanted to challenge my Marines to not do. Because once you get complacent with it, you lose your focus, and then it just becomes another thing. But it's so much more than that.
Man, again, it just goes back to that standard that you guys hold. There's levels, you know what I mean? And I would argue that with regards to close order drill and the outside in perspective of who we are and what we represent as Marines, there's the silent drill team, and then there's you guys. And a lot of people don't know that. So I'm glad we got to open with this conversation, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. I appreciate
it. Much respect, dude. Much respect.
Thank you. Likewise.
Yeah. Yeah. Why did you transition out of the Marines? Because you got to do some really cool shit.
Yeah, and I think that was probably a big part of the reason why. You know what I mean? It's like I started out with the Bad News Bears, which put a bad taste in my mouth. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I'm trying to figure out, how do you navigate through this? Because my whole mindset joining the Marine Corps was I wanted to be like the best of the best, and in the Marine, you think when you join the Marine Corps, that's what it is, but you don't realize they're, like you just said, different levels. There are different levels.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get to the Fleet Marine, sometimes you can have a bad leader.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a bad leader right off the bat that put the worst taste in my mouth. And
what made him a bad leader? Was he lax with the standard? Was he an asshole? Like what?
Asshole, lack with the standard, didn't do what he was like. When you're not practicing what you're preaching, when you're someone who's in shape and you're PTing every day and you're eating good and you're doing all the things that you're supposed to be doing,
Mm-hmm.
and you got some leader who's fat, eats garbage, is a complete disrespectful Marine,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't do the things that he says he's going to do. Like, it's very, very, very difficult to take someone like that seriously. But in the Marine Corps, you have no choice.
Right.
And that was a huge learning experience for me. And it made me start to think about what my future was going to look like in the Marine Corps. And I'm very blessed and fortunate that I was able to have the duties that I had. But in having them, doing the body bearer stuff and then doing personal security for General Pace and all that, it put me in a place where thinking about having to go back to the Fleet Marine Force was like, there's no way I can do that. You know what I mean?
It doesn't get cooler than it doesn't get any cooler than what I've already done.
Yeah. And it got to the point too, where my goals started to become very, very big.
Mm-hmm.
And my thought was the trajectory of where I wanted to bring my life to.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't going to be able to do that confined to the Marine Corps.
Dude, it's so interesting that you say that, because obviously the Marine Corps is very much a fundamental piece of who you and I have become as men and as leaders, right? So we cannot dismiss that.
Yeah.
How do you reconcile for yourself the additional truth that what is best for the Marine Corps isn't always best for the Marine?
Well, I think about it in the simple fact of when I joined the Marine Corps, I didn't know anything about anything. I was a bad, disrespectful punk kid who had no direction. But I knew I needed it. And I knew that I needed to have an open mind joining the Marine Corps. So when I joined, I was all in. And in being all in, it opened me up to all the things that I didn't know existed within me. Mm-hmm. And helping me build this belief system that I don't think I could have ever built in any other service. So it built the foundation of who I am today, with structure and discipline and this belief system that says, if I want to achieve something, I'm going to figure out a way to achieve it no matter what. But at the same time, I just became very goal oriented and was thinking big and big and big and bigger and bigger and biggest. And some people, I think, when they join the Marine Corps, they have a passion for just being whatever they're supposed to be based on what they want to do. Like, some people go into it knowing exactly what they want to do. Right. For me, I didn't know that. Okay. So I think back to the different levels, I think that, based on what your goals are, what your aspirations are, it fits for a lot of people. And at some point when it doesn't, then you take what you've learned and you move on.
Dude, I'll never forget. You're from Florida, right?
Yeah. Daytona Beach.
Yeah. So the tie-in here, the cat that said this, I'll never forget, went to the University of Florida. He was in my platoon at OCS. And when I don't know how it is in boot camp, I can only imagine that you guys are having similar conversations. Everybody's trying to figure out somewhere along the way, first of all, what mistakes did I make in my life to get to this place? When you're in the training environment, right? Like, I just need to make it to breakfast. I just need to make it to lunch. I just need to make it to dinner. And am I only going to do this for 4 years, or am I going to do it for 20? And we're having that conversation, and Lieutenant Taylor, Candidate Taylor at the time, put it the best I'd ever heard it said. There's so much wisdom in this. He's like, dude, I have no idea if I'm gonna do it 4, I'm gonna do it 20. I'm just gonna do it till it ain't fun anymore. And that became my North Star. I'm going to squeeze every bit of juice out of this experience, leave no stone unturned to the best of my ability. And when I run out of fun, and I had a good time, dude, when I run out of fun, that's it. And if that takes me 20 years and I keep having fun, then so be it, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's a different way of saying what you're talking about in terms of my vision got bigger and I wasn't going to be able to fulfill it if I stayed in the Marines.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. You know, it's one of those things where there's just so many different routes you can take. Mm-hmm. There's so many different pivots you can take, so many different places you can go and be and spend time in. And but yeah, I did. My fun ran out.
Was your career trajectory while you were on active duty the byproduct of a lot of serendipity, or were these like body bearers and security details and like the cool things that you got to do beyond the infantry? Were you looking for those opportunities, or did those opportunities find you?
You know, I say this is part of God's plan, because I didn't know anything about the body bearers. And when I was over I was on Camp Schwab in Okinawa, and dude, my company first sergeant and there was a corporal at the time who were talking to me about the body bearer section, and we're like, you should see if they're if they're looking for Marines, you'd be a perfect fit. And I'm like, all right. So my first sergeant actually reached out and started trying to find out some information, because he was like, in his mind, he basically told me, like, you're one of the more squared away Marines I've ever worked with, and you would excel doing something like this. So that was kind of the beginning of how it went. And when I got back from that deployment, the body bearers actually came down to Camp Lejeune and strength tested me, and I failed it. And I failed it, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm just moving on. I was like getting ready for squad leader.
What's on the strength test? I redesigned it. What was on it when you did it? What was your? It was
very, very basic, very, very, very fundamental. So it was bench press 225 for 10, I think.
Okay.
Like behind the neck, 135 shoulder press for 10. And then it was, I think it was like barbell curl 135 for 10. I mean, it was all super, super basic stuff.
Right. Those are superhuman numbers, though. Like what you just described is normal. It's superhuman out here in the real world. That's what I'm talking about. Like the standard is just, there's levels, dog. There's levels. Wow. So you fail.
Yeah.
And you ended up a body bearer anyway. So what happened in between? Did you get rescreened?
No, I was actually getting ready for squad leader school. And then I think I was about a week or two away from leaving. And I got called down to the company office. And they were like, when do you want to take leave, or how long you want to take leave for? And I'm like, what are you talking about? I had no idea. They're like, you got cut orders to the body bearer section.
Oh, you got selected anyway.
Got selected anyway. Yeah.
That's awesome. That says so much about your chain of command's belief in you and your character.
Well, the funny thing that my platoon commander, who refused to let me take the recon indoc, still tried to fight me, not letting me go to this. And I'm like, man, you're just
why?
I mean, I think it came down kind of one of those things where it's like when you're a good friend of mine from Daytona Beach, somehow we ended up in the same unit, 1-2. And
okay.
we were both like tremendously competitive against each other, all like really trying to be as squared away as humanly possible. I mean, it was like shining your boots every day, iron your can't, like you're looking at the Marines who have been there a while, seasoned. And I mean, they just looked like they jumped out of a sea bag. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like there's
Mm-hmm.
no care, no nothing. Just like drink a beer, get up for formation in the morning, hadn't PT'd and since
Mm-hmm.
last time they were forced to PT. Just like
Right.
really no initiative to be good. So
Mm-hmm.
that was me and my buddy, and I don't think he wanted to lose that.
Got it. Now let me ask you this: what kind of Marine were you in that? If you hold there, the cats that are cut from your cloth that hold themselves to a standard above most as an individual, are you also that Marine that starts almost every engagement with his commanding officer with all due respect, sir, which subtitles means go fuck yourself. Were you one to call your hire out on the carpet in turn
I
if they fail to meet standards?
dude, I was mute. I didn't say anything.
Okay.
Like everyone, like that was. I think there was something very mysterious about me where everyone was like, "Dude, he just doesn't talk." Like I didn't like, and I'm still the same way today. Like I'm not a big
Mm-hmm.
conversation guy. I'm
Yeah.
just like, tell me what I need to do, and let me do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I'm done, just leave me alone.
Yeah. So I want to back up to your origin story in terms of being a punk kid that needed everything that came with being a Marine. Because I asked you at lunch, and this is really a testament to the screening that we get to skip because we know where we come from. And you had made mention that you were an angry person.
Yeah.
And I asked you, have you always been angry? And I'm curious, what was it that how did you channel that anger in the environment that is the Marine Corps? Because I've also led angry Marines with troubled paths, et cetera, and they failed. They didn't have the tools, even with all the structure around them of the Marine Corps, to channel that anger appropriately and found themselves not squared away, but in a lot of trouble as a
Mhm.
result.
Yeah, it's actually a really cool question you asked, because that specific question that stemmed from childhood
Mm-hmm.
had led all the way up to this huge breakthrough I had recently.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna get into that too.
And it was one of those things where it came down to, I was just able to compartmentalize everything so deeply.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I think it's another reason why I wasn't a big talker. I don't hang out. Like I'm very particular about my time and who I spend time with and how I spend my time.
Mm-hmm.
But going through my childhood, man, it was, parents getting divorced, me ended up in this really depressed state, going to a bad school, getting bullied, and then ultimately finally fighting back. Fighting back, you find yourself in the wrong crowd with the wrong people doing the wrong things. Next thing you know, I'm hanging out with drug dealers on house arrest, doing cocaine and speed, and smoking weed when I'm in seventh grade. Overdose, almost died. Mom sent me off to live with her dad, my grandpa, in like the middle of the Ozarks in Missouri for a summer, building outhouses and working with pigs. I mean, it was crazy, dude. And came back from it, got right back in trouble. Ended up going to live with my real father, who I didn't really know, up in Tennessee, Chattanooga.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't work out there. They ended up bringing me to a psychiatric hospital in Panama City, Florida. Left me there. I was suicidal, just really, really bad stuff. My mom ended up coming back, brought me back to Daytona Beach, put me in this private Catholic high school. I started to do a little bit better. I matured up a little bit to
Mm-hmm.
know enough that, like, my mom's making a sacrifice now, paying a lot of money to keep me in a school, doing everything she can. But still, I'm like, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
And looking back on me as a kid, and I see these kids today, I'm like, man, I can't believe the disrespect I had, like the audacity of what I did and how I treated people who were really trying to help me. So the anger brewed from that whole realm. And then in the Marine Corps, having that initial experience with some bad leaders is when it, kind of when it started compounding a little bit. Cause I'm, I don't know. I kind of went off on this little journey of my own where I'm like, let me just find out who I really am and what I can actually be. And the Marine Corps allowed me to do that.
100%. It sounds like you made a conscious decision to just put your head down and see how you can max yourself out inside that container.
Yeah.
And you just recently, this year, the Ibogaine?
Yeah.
You just recently, for everybody that's had their head in the sand in the Rogan sphere as of late, the president is pushing forward the Ibogaine initiative that was started by Governor Perry in the state of Texas, and it's something that has, to my knowledge, has been relatively underground in the veteran community, and everybody, they're going down to Mexico for facilitation, and it is changing the game on so many levels, not just PTSD in isolation, but just the total human of who we experience of who we are. And having had that experience, walk me through the awakening that you had that left you open to having what I know to be a really heavy experience.
Yeah. I've been carrying around so much pain for so long. I've been massively successful in my, entrepreneurial journey, so to speak. However, the pain that I was holding, there was so much of it, and it was so deep that looking back on it, it prevented me from actually achieving all the things I wanted to do. I just didn't realize it at the time because of how shut off I was to everything. But that was my way of just coping with things that I didn't want to be around, people I didn't want to be around, things that I couldn't make sense of, that didn't fit the way I see life. Hollywood, for example, great success, wrong environment, wrong people, shallow, materialistic, superficial. It's just been consistently stacking one after another, and had some bad business partnerships recently, post-COVID, when I was maneuvering out of Hollywood, trying to figure out what to do. So the reason I'm saying all this is for context, because I didn't just say, yeah, I'm going to go do, Ibogaine in Mexico. Let me see what this is all about. It was I had been messing around with plant medicine for a while.
Okay.
Did psilocybin, did stellate ganglion block, was dealing with all these post-traumatic stress modalities that were supposed to help people. They were all very short-lived. And I was like desperately seeking something to help me, because I knew there was something really deep in my mind that I just could not access, no matter what I did. And so I got the opportunity to go down to Tijuana with Ambio Life Sciences. They're they are the leader in the Ibogaine space.
Okay.
They're the ones who actually facilitated that whole In Waves in the War documentary on Netflix.
Yep.
Conor McGregor, all the big names have typically gone to Ambio. So they're the level of professionalism, by the way, with Ambio is like mind blowing. It was, the experience that I had down there was probably one of the best experiences I've ever had, because not only was it life-changing for me, but there was so much care by their medical team. And it's a medical process. It's not like you're just going down there into some little, hut down there and going to smoke some weed or something. It's a serious thing. So I had to get blood work done prior with an EKG. You get there, you do your blood work again, you do another EKG. You've got you've got an IV port put in your arm the the whole time you're there. So it's like you're getting constant hydration through these and different things. But you have to go into it with really specific intentions. And that is a very important thing for anyone who might hear this thinking about Ibogaine. You don't just go in it and just do it. Like, there's prep for it. You have to know why you're doing it and what would you like to get out of it. I was so hyper focused and hyper specific on exactly what I wanted to get out of it. But at the end of the day, when you take the medicine and you go under, it owns you for 12 hours. So you might have this intention you want to get out of it. It might not necessarily be what you get out of it. The medicine is going to give you what you need.
Well, that's you're leading me so beautifully into this next question, because as locked on, focused, and squared away as you move through this conscious existence, how hard was it for you to surrender to the medicine?
With Ibogaine, you ain't got no choice.
Okay. Yeah.
It's an interesting experience though, because in my mind I was thinking that I'm going to see a lot of trauma from overseas, from childhood, all the bad stuff that I've encountered in my life.
Right.
It was the complete opposite for me. And this is where it you hear. So part of Ibogaine is you have the visual hallucinations, but you also have auditory hallucinations too. It's very, very strange. And it's still something that's very hard to put into words because it's such an experience.
Right.
But I remember I kept hearing these voices, and it just kept saying my name, and then it would say, "Love yourself. You're worth it." All this stuff. And when the medicine first grabbed me, basically it like threw me back like I was in a rocket ship taking off. Like your body, everyone's got a different experience, but that was mine. Yep. And then all of a sudden it thrust me back like I'm in a movie theater. And I'm just seeing all these images fly by, but I have no idea what they are. It's like a picture of a car driving in the middle of the desert on a highway, and pictures of flowers and trees and people running in a park. And I'm like, I don't. So they say if you don't know what's going on or you're confused, talk to the medicine. So I just kept saying like, what, like, tell me what this is. I don't understand. So long story of it all is my experience came down to the concept of love, the ability to love someone fully, and the ability to allow someone to love me fully. And that's been a huge issue my whole life, because I didn't grow up exactly knowing what that meant. And then I've had really bad relationships. I had a bad divorce when I was over in Iraq. And my relationships, it got to the point where my work ethic was just so strong that anytime a relationship would get in my way emotionally, I'm like, I don't have time for this. Like, just go. Or I would mentally check out and it would just fall apart. So that was a really big moment for me, was being able to see what that actually was. And that was through the relationship I'm in now, because whenever I was in the dark in my experience with Ibogaine, and I didn't know where to go or what I was experiencing, or I couldn't figure out, and I would get anxious, it would show me a picture of my girlfriend. So I also saw her mom. Her mom passed away a few years ago. I've never met her. I saw her mom was in my visual. Matter of fact, for her birthday recently, I had the first vision I saw of her and her mom. I had it, a portrait made of it, because it was such an impactful moment in my life. Ibogaine is something where you don't know what you're going to see or what you're going to experience, One of the doctors who did it was telling us his second experience with it. At birth, he had a twin brother that died that he never met. In his Ibogaine journey, he met his brother. He had no idea. He went and asked his mom, and his mom looked like she saw a ghost. Like, how did you know that? Anyway,
he didn't even know.
He had no idea.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So it goes to show the power of the human brain, really. The neuro regenerative properties, the neuroplasticity that takes place after Ibogaine. I met Governor Perry down there.
Oh, right on. Okay.
Yeah. And we talked for about 30 minutes, exchanged information. And he was down there doing his third Ibogaine session.
Fuck, dude. 3 times. Like, all I've ever heard is it's one and done, dude. It's such a taxing experience. I don't want to place a positive or negative charge on it, because your experience is your experience. But I've heard that it is so taxing.
It is. But so you do Ibogaine. The next day they call it gray day. You're just maxed out. You're exhausted.
Sure.
Because the dopamine, the serotonin, the oxytocin blast you. and then the following day you finish with 5-MeO DMT.
Oh yeah.
And that was so Ibogaine showed me the light. 5-MeO allowed me to empty the pain. Right. So I've never cried so much in my life.
Yeah.
When I tell you that when I walked out of there, and went and sat on the porch and took my shirt off I'm in the sun, listening to the waves, eating a bowl of fruit, journaling. Yep. I felt like I weighed 5 pounds. The heaviness was gone.
Yeah.
The forgiveness that I didn't understand, the forgiveness that I said I could never do. It was like a switch. It was immediately flipped on. I had forgiven everybody. No one who had done anything in my past against me. They were in my past. I've moved on. I don't bring their name into my future anymore, which is why I'm not saying the one name we talked about.
Yeah. You know? Right.
But the other piece with Ibogaine, so I went into it for a specific intention. Now, when you think about the neuroregenerative properties of it, with Governor Perry, after 2 sessions, he had been doing brain scans, right? So his prefrontal cortex had improved after 2 sessions by, it was something like over 25 or close to 30%. So this is where we get into the phase of, or the application of how Ibogaine can be used for, things like dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. You've got the addictive aspect of it, where someone can go in there who had been hooked on drugs for their whole life and can walk out of there and literally be cold turkey done, not ever even want it again. It's incredible.
Wow. It says a lot if you have an understanding of the spectrum of medicine out there and their intentions and applications, that Ibogaine is so damn strong. I'm going to oversimplify this experience, so I apologize in advance. The Ibogaine experience is so intense. You got to take the DMT to take the edge off.
They complement each other really well.
Yeah. That's incredible. Now let me ask you this, because I've had conversations with Coach Casey out in Vegas. Do you know him? He's a UFC guru?
I don't think so.
And like in fighter culture, plant medicine is very much part of the deal. It's not unusual. I'll put it that way. And for the fighters that he works with specifically, he will not work with them if they engage in plant medicine use, because it's his theory that because of all that release, that is 100% a positive outcome of these experiences. So as far as the fighter is concerned, the unintended consequence of that release is the dog in you goes with it.
When you started saying that, I knew where you were going with it, because when I got out of there, and I remember writing this when I was journaling, was I can see why people after doing an experience like this leave everything they're doing and go down a completely different route, because the level of peace and clarity that you encounter is something that you can't even put into words. I mean,
Right.
it is just so indescribable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't have your phone the whole time you're there.
Yeah.
And dude, when the last day I was there,
Mm-hmm.
I was happy to get back to, to be at home. But at the same time, I had this bit of question around how do I integrate this type of peace and clarity into my life? Because I know as soon as I get back, you got the phone, the computer, the laptop, the podcast, the this, the that. Everything is so tech based right now. We're connected to everything, and I was worried about that. So I've been really focused on the integration piece post Ibogaine.
Yeah.
And because the neuroplasticity is around 3 to 5 months or 3 to 6 months, depending on the person.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still in this phase where I'm just like I'm in like this crazy creative mode right now. It's an amazing thing.
That's awesome, man. So there's the dog, I need to prove myself to myself and others, the competitive aspect of it. Let me ask you this, from your lived experience and the integration season that you're in right now, how is your ambition compared to what it was prior to Ibogaine?
My ambition is still
Okay.
astronomical.
Okay.
It's what's shifted is the fact that I look back on my past experiences, and I've made a commitment to myself that I will never allow anything like those things to happen again. So there's a lot more awareness now, where and there it's I'm at a place now where there's no compromising anymore, because I know exactly where I want to go to, and as long as I can stay really clear about it, then I'm still gonna achieve it. So I'm not anywhere near where I want to be right now. And again, it's just like this is just another next level for me.
Dude, that is awesome. What I'm hearing from you is that your ambition is intact, but you have so much more intention that is almost like a container, a channel for that ambition, where obviously wasn't misguided for all the things that you've accomplished and the laser focus that you possess. But now you just have so much more intention to drive that ambition in a way that serves the higher, best version of Aaron.
Yeah. I've been so used to operating in chaos for so long.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where I realized that patience has not been my strongest suit. So when I'm jamming on something and I'm not seeing progress where I want to see it, I'm like kicking different doors open and kicking all these doors open. It's almost like a test in life to see how bad you really want the main thing you want. It's like, I really want this, but because of my lack of patience, let me take my foot off the gas a little bit and open these doors and go down this a little bit. So it's these little constant distractions that I've allowed to really interrupt the one primary thing that I wanted in my life. And right now, those doors are still there. Like, I can hear people knocking on them. You know what I mean? Like, I've turned down some Hollywood stuff right now. I've turned down some business stuff because I'm just not willing to do that anymore. I'm not willing to play that game anymore. Granted, there are some circumstances where it could be, but again, the level of clarity I have, I'll know when it's right.
Is it as night and day as I'm feeling it is for you, compared the way you operate now and your perspective on life compared to even if you're achieving the same results, if not better, is the frame that much different?
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. And I think the biggest takeaway from Ibogaine and that
Mm-hmm.
whole plant medicine experience was the realignment of my ego.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is I, I didn't feel like I had an ego, and everyone's always told me I'm a pretty humble guy.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, when you're navigating through Hollywood and you're making waves and you're making a name for yourself, and it's like you're doing celebrity training and stunt work and acting and tech advising, and you move out to LA and you're at the Golden Globes, you're doing all this stuff. It kind of it kind of like figures out it gets in there, and it you have a little bit of it whether you want to admit it or not.
Oh yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
I kept trying to phase out of fitness because the acting thing became so much more important. Fitness was something I never wanted to share. But when I was homeless, I just did it out of desperation, which
Mm-hmm.
led me to the Hollywood route. And I mean, 2020 was mapped out to be my biggest year acting. And
Oh.
when COVID hit, wiped it all out, the epiphany for me was, you know what? No matter how many times I've tried to take my fitness back and reclaim it to myself, God has pulled me back into it. So there's
Mm-hmm.
something specifically in my life with fitness that I have to understand is meant to be. And I will remain on that path now. And I'm not going to go back down the route of being around bad people doing bad things with no morals and no integrity in Hollywood anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm doing Hollywood work, it's got to be in the right alignment with me because
Yeah.
especially right now, I'm not playing that game anymore.
How does it feel to be that clear?
I don't know how to put that into words, man. It makes me able to breathe. Like I can breathe. I can sleep better. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and at the end of the day right now, the main focus for me is just spending more time with my family.
Yeah.
Like that's the simplicity of it, where I'm at right now. My
Mm-hmm.
family means everything to me. I've sacrificed so much time playing this game and being on this rat race.
Mm-hmm.
And I look back on it and I lost so much time. Like, you know, when the older you get, the faster time flies. That's a real thing. And
Yeah.
then when you watch your loved ones age like they have, you realize your time is something you're not getting back. So it's time to wake up and realize that for real.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's interesting, man. You know, the when you contextualize it and you take everything that you said genuinely seriously and you prioritize it, this is so congruent with so many conversations I'm having in this season of my life, coaching or otherwise, in that you really have a responsibility to curate your existence to support the best version of yourself. And a lot of people are walking around outsourcing that, you know, creating a dependency on everybody else with this unrealistic expectation that it's going to be done for them. And I really feel like as you understood it for a long time, like, I need to take this into my own hands. I'm responsible for this. And then on the other side of Ibogaine, you moved from this rational, albeit stoic way of thinking that's, you know, essentially from the neck up, to something that is heart forward and hyper intuitive and trusting that intuition. Is that anywhere close to your evolution?
100%, because not only did I come out of Ibogaine clear headed and more focused, but it strengthened my faith and my relationship with God in a way that I'm still trying to navigate through that, because it's been so profound.
Mm-hmm.
The things that I've always felt like I've needed to be in control of everything, and when I'm not, I spin, because I'm. What do you mean? Like, just have faith? What does that even mean?
Mm-hmm.
I have faith now.
Brother, I am so honored to know you, man, and to have
Right.
met. And I've known about you for a while, but I am honored to know you in this season of your life.
That means a lot, man. Thank you.
Yeah,
It means a lot to me to be around people like you.
I received that fully, man. Likewise. Where can everybody find you, support you, learn from you? And I mean, we didn't get to it at all, but learn more about, and engage with Mission Ready.
Any of my social media handles, Instagram, Facebook. I'm kicking off YouTube now. And by the way, I'm going on like all in talking about food addiction right now, because it's a massive thing right now that everybody can relate to. So come join me on this new journey of trying to tackle something that's impossible, because you're going to change someone's life on the way.
Let's go, baby. I love that shit. For everybody out there, catch Aaron on and ride that wave with him. And if you're on a mission to be the fittest leader possible, it comes down to integrity, courage, and ownership laid on the foundation of alignment first. Head over to nextlevelhq.co and take our leadership quiz and figure out who you are as a leader, and join us in the Leaders Forum.
Hey, one thing, your life is the mission. You got to be ready.
That a boy. Love you, dude.
Love you, man.